Dr. Tice Herger, President, Texas Chiropractic Association. Dr. Devin Pettiott, Texas Chiropractic Association. Dr. Craig Benton, Texas Chiropractic Association. And William Morgan, who is the president of Parker University in Dallas, Texas. Tice, Devin, Craig, and William. Dr. Hergert, when you're ready, you can begin your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the Sunset Committee and the Sunset staff for the time that you put in all summer working on this issue. I'm Dr. Tice Hergert. I'm the president of the TCA, or the Texas Chiropractic Association. I practice in Southlake, Texas. I've been there for close to 17 years. As far as TCA, the Texas Chiropractic Association is the oldest and largest professional association of doctors of chiropractic in Texas. We represent the interests of all DCs, their employers, most importantly, their patients. TCA believes that Texans should have adequate access to health care and their choice and the health care of their choice. And we support the statutory authority of individual practitioners to diagnose and treat the human body by any method that is within legal scope of chiropractic practice and taught by an accredited chiropractic college. I'd like to first talk about some of the things that are in the Sunset Report. TCA has visited with the Sunset Advisory Commission staff on multiple occasions. We've also visited with Sunset members and their staffs. We've submitted formal comments on each of the recommendations in the Sunset Staff Report, but a few important recommendations. TCA does support recommendations related to improving the investigation and disciplinary processes. We've seen some positive change in this with recent stakeholder improvements. And so, TBCE is taking the recommendations to heart, and you can see the action. TCA supports eliminating the chiropractic facility registration. We see it as an unnecessary administrative burden on both the DCs and with TBCE. It really doesn't seem to serve the public health or welfare. TCA is waiting in good faith on issue 5 regarding eliminating TBCE, and we will take a formal position at that point. A brief rundown on some of the things that aren't mentioned in the Sunset Report. We brought several issues to Sunset staff that weren't included, and they can be found in TCA's formal comments. However, one is absolutely critical. TBCE has been sued twice over whether DCs can diagnose, and whether without legislative intervention, TCA is concerned that the board will continue to be dragged into litigation, threatening the entire profession and wasting taxpayer resources. We encourage the Sunset Commission to take action to correct this issue. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Members, Senator Nichols.
Oh, well, you were making a statement. Okay.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask if there were any questions.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The previous witness made the statement concerning the facility owner kind of driving the train of with the chiropractor. I found that a little disturbing. I know it's an issue that goes all the way back to the doctors having concern with being employed by a hospital, where a hospital may direct them to affect medical decision making, stays up or whatever. Would you comment on that?
On non-DC facility owners?
Well, she was concerned, which kind of makes me concerned, where the facility owner, let's say you get a young chiropractor in there, and the facility is directing them
what to do.
Yeah.
Directing their medical or chiropractic decision making.
I'm sure y'all obviously talked about this in your association.
It has been talked about. One of the things that ultimately the chiropractor, just like the physician, is held responsible for their medical decision making. And if you have a situation where a facility owner is, grilling, the licensee to do things that they know are inappropriate, they have an obligation to their patient and, to their, as a part of their own licensure to report that activity.
All right, so you recognize that it probably does occur occasionally, but not enough that you should be involved?
I'm not aware as to how often it happens or when it happens.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Senator. Members, any more questions for Dr. Herr? All right, thank you very much. Next is Dr. Devin Pettit.
Make you suffer with it. It's Pettit.
Dr. P.
Yes.
Pettit. So
Yes.
pronounced like Andy, but not spelled like Andy.
Right, and I'm right-handed. There's
All right, yes,
Yeah, sorry.
Breaking ball doesn't break as much.
That doesn't.
All right. All right. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Dr. Devin Pettit. I'm from Tomball, Texas, and I am here on behalf of the TCA. I would like to reiterate that the amount of work that I've seen go into today, as I've never been here before, is I would say I'm not envious of any one of your staff or you, and it has been a long day, so I appreciate it. It's obviously surreal to look at you guys since I've only seen your faces on the internet, so it's a little bit. So let me jump a little bit because we've been here a long time. What interests me the most is the fact that the TBCE does a fine job actually, and yet for as long as I've been a chiropractor, they've been under constant threat of litigation. And I know you don't want to get into that, but I think that it's easy to assume that if I'm a business or if I'm running a business and I'm also constantly being sued, it is very hard to focus on what they were designed to do. And I would say the most glaring problem that needs to be fixed, and I think that this is the perfect place to address it, is diagnosis. It's something we've been doing since 1949. It's something that we do on a regular basis, and yet it was we'll say a clerical mistake to not include it in our current act. But the problem is our Chiropractic Act is at times very poorly written. It's antiquated, and it leaves the profession, the chiropractic profession as we know it, on the verge of extinction. The lawsuits divert the board's attention and resources from its mission of protecting public health and safety. And I would say that the TCA believes that Texans should have access to health care of their choice, and this choice could be effectively eliminated if chiropractors lost the right to diagnose. So how do we fix it? We'll jump to that. The Chiropractic Act defines the practice of chiropractic as the objective and subjective means to analyze, examine, and evaluate the biomechanical condition of the spine, the musculoskeletal system of the human body. Simply adding diagnosis to the definition of the practice of chiropractic would solve this problem. And courts have ruled that analyze, examine, and evaluate is synonymous with diagnosis and have upheld that. But because we've had trouble getting it passed through legislation, it continues to be an issue. It is not even a substantive change. If you add the word diagnosis today and it went into effect today, I would do the exact same thing tomorrow because diagnosis is not synonymous with treatment. It has nothing to do with scope. And so what I would ask is I would encourage you to fix this problem by simply making a change and correcting something. It would save Texas taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawsuit money that's been distributed.
Chairman Raymond.
Well, I wanted to ask one of our members up here, Dr. Schwartner, if you would comment on that.
Well, there are specific duties and rights of various professions. Pharmacists dispense, chiropractors analyze, examine, and evaluate. Physicians diagnose and prescribe. And those are important terms from a statutory standpoint, from a reimbursement standpoint, from a whole code standpoint. And it would be viewed by many other professions as a change of, in fact, nurse practitioners don't diagnose either. They actually assess and evaluate. And there's some other terms, I think, as well. So it is a difference, and would be placing at the same level as physicians, chiropractors, by changing the statute to reflect that.
So you said, before you said diagnose, you said the three words.
Analyze, examine, evaluate.
So do we have those words in the in the statute?
Correct.
We do.
And that's what we've been practicing under that language since 1949. We diagnose on a daily basis because it's required, well, for the proper practice of chiropractic, as well as to bill insurance. We are portal of entry doctors, which means we do not require referrals. So we diagnose the patient when they come in, whether we're treating that particular ailment or whether we need to refer it out. It's just a standard of
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I had, I hurt my back many years ago, and I didn't know anything about chiropractic. I didn't know what you guys did. I went to 3 doctors. They couldn't fix it. The third one wanted to operate and wanted to cut on my back. And I'm like, you ain't cutting my back. But I had pain bad. It got bad. And so I finally said, I'm going to try these chiropractors. I don't know what the hell they do. But so I went in there, and one adjustment, and I had pain relief for the first time in 5 years.
Results may vary.
Well, I'm just telling you what and I'm on the sunset coming.
I got it. I love it.
So,
so did they diagnose you?
Yeah, I mean, they did. I don't know what they did, but
They figured out what was wrong and fixed it, right?
I think they took an X-ray.
Correct.
And asked me and did this, and then finally adjusted me.
Right.
And man, it was.
Thank you for that.
He would have cut on me. I don't know. That was. I guess he'd have diagnosed me and cut on me.
Great. Members, any more questions for Dr. Pettit? All right. Thank you very much. Oh, there's actually one question. Senator Taylor.
Is there anything to the statement that the word diagnose would change the billing or reimbursement or Medicare?
Right now, we're practicing under an apparent exemption. I mean, it's been this way since 1949. I've been billing insurance since I got out of school. I didn't even realize it was a problem until it was brought to my attention through a lawsuit. Through the Texas Medical Association suing the Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners about it, because the board is required to analyze the law, so to speak, and examine it, and then create rules to govern it. And of course, diagnosis is just an inherent part of chiropractic.
But my question is around reimbursement and billing.
From an insurance standpoint,
Yes.
if I couldn't diagnose,
No. But is there? So they won't pay you, or
correct.
you get paid more?
You could not submit a claim without a diagnosis. A diagnosis, you have to have one. An ICD-10 diagnosis.
Okay.
You can't submit a claim for that.
Okay. Thank you.
So yes, it's
Great. Members, any more questions, Dr. Pettit? Dr. Benton, whenever you're ready.
Hello, my name is Dr. Craig Benton. I'm a doctor of chiropractic from Lampasas, Texas, and I also serve as the Scientific Affairs Coordinator of the Texas Chiropractic Association. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. I'd also like to thank the staff for all their hard work throughout the sunset process. And I support the recommendations in the staff report, but I'm troubled by prospect of consolidation. However, I'll reserve final judgment until I've actually seen the proposal. As you're aware, Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners is now in another long lawsuit. I think this is the third one, with no end in sight. Spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, in my opinion, on needless lawsuits. The biggest problem is diagnosis. I've been a doctor of chiropractic now for 30 years. I got licensed in February 1986. I've been diagnosing that entire time, getting reimbursed by insurance. If you put the word diagnosis in there, nothing changes. It just stops all this needless lawsuits. Chiropractors in the military, the VA system, and Medicare are required to diagnose a patient's condition. We have to do that or we cannot see the patient. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and I treat a lot of veterans. I'm 30 minutes from the largest military base in the world, Fort Hood, 1st Cav, and I have a large veteran population with many chronic pain problems. The VA is serious about the opioid crisis, and they're trying other paths to try to deal with these soldiers. Chiropractic is a part of that solution. Without the ability to diagnose, I couldn't see these soldiers, and they would suffer needlessly. This is not how we should be treating our heroes. I have learned a lot from them. I had absolutely no idea what these soldiers have gone through in Iraq and Afghanistan. The deployments, away from their families, the injuries that they suffered that we've been able to help. I understand many of you are reluctant to take on the issue of this in sunset, but the revisions that we're requesting, adding diagnosis to the sentence explaining diagnosis in our act, will merely clarify what has already been happening in my case for 30 years. It also ends a frivolous lawsuit and preserves patient access to care, in my opinion, the veteran. Please consider making these common sense clarifications, and I thank you for your time.
Colonel West.
Are you allowed to, thank you, Mr. Chairman, are you allowed to see active duty troops?
Active duty have to go on base. They have to see a chiropractor on base. So I'm allowed to see veterans that have some type of a disability. There is, at Fort Hood, they do have chiropractors on base. And again, if they cannot diagnose, according to the federal guidelines, I don't believe that they could see these soldiers.
Do you get any referrals from the VA system?
Yes. And we also have a new program that's out called the VA Choice Card. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
I am.
We get a lot. We're 53 miles from the VA, so we are getting veterans every week coming in. And like I said, I had no idea some of the things they've gone through, and I appreciate them so much more now, just seeing some of the things that they've sacrificed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Colonel. Members, any more questions for Dr. Benton? Thank you very much. William E. Morgan, President, Parker University. You win the last public testimony of the day.
It's called cleanup.
That's right. Whenever you're ready, sir.
My name is William Morgan. I'm a chiropractor of 31 years, and recently I was hired to become the president of Parker University. We have 14 majors, including the major of chiropractic, and I represent 817 chiropractic students and about 6,000 alumni. Before coming to Parker, I worked at the National Military Medical Center, Bethesda, Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, the United States Capitol Medical Clinic, where 2 days a week I would take care of members of Congress under Dr. Eishold and Dr. Other doctors.
Should have broken their back.
Yeah, I know. But some of them have limbs left to the right. But anyway, I've been the White House chiropractor since 2007. I'm on faculty, or I've been on faculty of medical school and adjunct faculty for 7 chiropractic colleges, and have been credentialed at 5 hospitals, and also took care of the Naval Academy as a beat Army 13 years in a row.
Wow.
I also like to thank the Marines. The Marines on board. Happy birthday, Marines. Happy Veterans Day to those other services.
When your resume takes 3 minutes, you don't get to test.
Sorry. I have 3 children in the military also, so it's very important. What we're talking about here is clarity. Every other state uses the word diagnosis. I was surprised when I came here 5 months ago. The United States military, I have to diagnose that and I did treat active duty. We treat active duty, I committed diagnosis on every one of those patients. The VA requires diagnosis. Medicare requires diagnosis in our billing. The White House required me to diagnose. At the Capitol, I was required to diagnose. I come to Texas, we don't diagnose. Every other state diagnoses. It's more than jargon. It's important to us. It's what the standard of care is. I teach, my university teaches students to diagnose. We have, and I can provide to you our syllabus. And I've been on faculty of medical school. It's our hours of diagnosis equate or longitude didactics to diagnosis the medical school. Now there's other variations to that, and I can provide the documentation. Diagnosis will save money to the state of Texas. If I can't make the diagnosis of a ACL tear before I send them to an orthopedic surgeon, maybe I have to refer to another doctor who can. It is also going to increase safety by making an accurate diagnosis. I might save someone from injury in our clinic. It's more than jargon. It's required, and frankly, it's the standard at virtually every place else in our country. I'd like to see my new home, Texas, which I love, to adopt this. And we're already doing this. It's de facto. We're already diagnosing.
Great. Members, any questions? Dr. Morgan. Dr. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yours didn't have a title on it, so. Okay. Members, any questions from Dr. Morgan?
Sorry.
Seriously? Man, I prefaced it by this is the last guy.
One quick question. How many states allow chiropractors to diagnose?
49.
Wow. All right, thank you.
But this state is special. And also, I should say, our students get at least 7 years of training before they take it. I want to make sure everybody knows that. It's chiropractors get 7 or more years of college before they become doctors of chiropractic.
Thank you, sir, very much. Thank you all very much for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you.